I want to thank everybody on the front lines who are working around the clock to respond to this very dangerous fire. I want to thank the firefighters, the first responders, everybody who is out literally fighting the fire as we gather for this press conference right now, putting their lives on the line to save and to protect their community. We thank them for what they're doing. In addition to that, I want to thank many of the people who are with us here as we gather today, including the Medina County Judge Schuhart, Castroville Mayor Schroeder, the Medina County Emergency Manager Lutz, Medina County Sheriff Brown, Medina County Commissioner Precinct 2 Larry Sitter, Medina County Commissioner Precinct 1 Tim Newman, Medina ESD Fire Chief Cook, Texas A&M Forest Service, here represented today by James Russell, as well as the Texas Department of Public Safety, Highway Patrol Captain Stephen Tellez, and the Texas Parks and Wildlife Game Warden Cody Buckaloo. And there are many others I can mention. There are a total of 19 agencies that are already involved in responding to this disaster. And it's the collaboration of all of those 19 agencies that's leading to such a prolific and effective response to this disaster so far. There are about 200 firefighters who are engaged in fighting this blaze. There are 5 aircraft, including 4 Black Hawks and 1 air attack provided by the Texas National Guard, 6 dozers, 4 of which are state and 2 of which are private. 3 different law enforcement agencies are assisting with approximately 30 personnel. Those agencies are the Medina County Sheriff's Office, the Texas Department of Public Safety, and the Texas Parks and Wildlife Game Wardens. So let's start with some good news. The good news is, as of right now, there have been no lives lost. That's so incredibly important because one thing that we all know, and that is property can be destroyed, but you can rebuild property. If you lose a life, you can't rebuild anything. And so I applaud the people who are living in harm's way, as well as the local law enforcement, the responders, as well as the media for getting information out to inform people about ways in which they can protect their lives. Whatever happens to this fire in the coming days, the most important thing that you all can do is to protect your lives. There will be people protecting your property constantly, but do everything you can to save your own life. Similarly, there are no reported injuries, which is fantastic news. Now, all that said, there are almost 1,000 acres that are on fire or have been burned as we're speaking right now, and obviously that could increase. It's about 10% contained at this moment in time. There have been 3 homes completely destroyed by the fire. There are others who may have suffered some level of damage. It's uncertain at this particular stage. There are about 37 homes that have been saved, and so a total of 40 that have been threatened. As you may know, there's been an evacuation order of High Mountain Ranch, and additional information will be constantly provided about the status of that evacuation order. It obviously depends on the status of the fire. One very important point I want to convey to everybody who may be subject to an evacuation order. Your sheriff is working with his team around the clock with the available assistance of the Texas Department of Public Safety to make sure that the streets of any area that's going to be evacuated will be constantly patrolled so there will be no looting, no potential outside damage coming in to break into your home, to loot anything or take anything. It will all be secured by law enforcement in this area. The reason for that evacuation order is because of the assessment of local officials that is needed to help save the lives of people who could be in harm's way. Now, in addition to that, currently there are about 119 homes that are without power. The reason for that is because the fire either has caused damage to power lines or power structure, or power lines and power structure are in the imminent pathway of being harmed or destroyed by the fire, which, of course, could lead to even more and greater damages. And all I can tell you is that those responsible for getting those power lines back up and running and operational and restoring the power to those homes, they're working as swiftly as they possibly can, but their hands are tied by the status of the fire. So if you happen to be in one of the homes without power, just know that there will be people working around the clock to get that restored as quickly and as safely as it can be restored. Because of the level of damages that have already been sustained here in Medina County, I'm going to be issuing a disaster declaration for Medina County. This disaster declaration, it accelerates the capabilities for Medina County to be able to respond to this disaster. It makes available all the state resources that may be needed to respond to this, and it adds to the other counties for which I've already declared a disaster, which all together will go towards a potential request that we will be making of the federal government for a federal disaster declaration. For a recap of that, in addition to Medina County, I've already declared disasters in Blanco, Brown, Comanche, Erath, Hood, Potter, Runnels, Williamson, Brooks, Coleman, Eastland, Grayson, Mason, Rendell, and Starr counties. And so these are challenging times across the state of Texas with regard to different types of disasters that we're dealing with. But we know that with this proclamation and with the response that we've seen, the outcome for Medina County is going to be far better than it would have been. A couple of closing remarks, and then I'm going to have the county judge talk to you. One thing that we need that corresponds with this disaster declaration, we need damage assessments. For us to be able to receive a federal disaster declaration, we need to know what the monetary damage is so we can report it to the federal government. There is a location where you can do that, and it's this right here, which is damage.tdem.texas.gov. If you would get that out to the public so the public will know where to go to provide the information about the potential amount of damages you have sustained, that's going to help the state of Texas as well as Medina County respond more quickly and help on you get the relief that you need. I'm going to say something that the county judge may also say, but there's a local site that you can go to provide also information, and that's medinacountytexas.org, medinacountytexas.org. One last thing, and that is there have been people who were displaced by this fire, including the people who live in the 3 homes that have been completely destroyed, including the people who are subject to the evacuation order. Right now, a location that provides shelter for them is Loma Alta Middle School. That is going to change later on today for the reason that tomorrow that school is going to open back up for educational purposes. There will be an announcement later on today about where additional shelter operations will be held for those who have been displaced.